Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Malbeefance channel. This is turn 43. Yes, turn 43 of our series replay of Strategic Command World War One. And if you've been following the series, even if you've just been following recently, you pretty much know where we are in the stage of the game. With the fall of the Russian Empire, the Central Powers have focused their attention on cleaning up the smaller wars down in the Balkans. The Serbia, Montenegro, and Albania have all fallen, and now Greece has been pushed all the way back to uh, Lycia, and hopefully we'll be able to go ahead and knock Greece out of the war here very shortly. Ottoman forces are beginning to make advances in Egypt, and even on the Western Front, the German forces have been able to make some significant advances. We've managed to take Belfort, and we've also taken Nancy. And most importantly, we've taken Verdun, which is also a victory objective in the game. And so now what I'm hoping to do is push further back into Belgium in the continuing effort to liberate Belgium. And a major operation that is coming up either this turn or next turn is going to be the cross-Adriatic invasion of Italy, and we'll see how that goes. I have a concern with this Italian submarine down here in Toronto, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal because we're going to try and land here in between Brindisi and Bari and push on and take Toronto that way. So at least that's the plan. We'll see how that plays out. And also, the High Seas Fleet slightly attenuated, therefore it needs to be reinforced by submarines, but the High Seas Fleet is back underway into the North Sea. We're going to see if we can't stir up some Royal Navy units and see if we can't pick them off. And so with that, we'll go ahead and we'll advance the turn and see what we get. All right, defeat on the, I believe that is pronounced Pive. The loss of Padua lowers Italian morale. We did that last turn, obviously. Austria-Hungary celebrates the capture of Padua. French morale falls due to the loss of Belfort. So those are some big gains for us. The Seidler is hit by rough seas. And there is the usual blockade, North Sea blockade alert. Germany develops advanced subs, level 2. All right, so the next time they come in for resupply, we'll go ahead and upgrade them. Austrian scientists get aerial warfare development up to 71%. And Austrian scientists gas and shell production up to 41%. Ottoman ground attack weapons, level 1. Our ledger for next turn. All right, and away we go. Computers calculating supply for the Entente this upcoming turn. And what do we get? What's happening? It's thinking. It's doing stuff off screen. All right, so repositioning forces throughout Africa and northern Italy and Greece. Not that they have a lot of places to go in Greece because we pushed them all the way back to the south. So now here we go. There's the anti-submarine effort that I was anticipating. Of course, I have to admit that's pretty brazen using a dreadnought in anti-submarine warfare. All right, air war over the Western Front. See if all these new triplanes do us any favors. And now we got some air war over the Alps. The new improved Austrian fighters seem to be making an impact. Lots of Italian blimps. Alright, so now here comes the artillery under Verdun and Liege. Those two hexes are linchpins for my defensive line up there. I can totally understand why the computer would be going after them, especially Verdun, seeing as how it is a victory requirement. So yeah, dumping a lot of artillery on Nancy. Or excuse me, that's Epinal. This is Nancy. Oh, I don't think we're going to hold the hex. Nope. Alright, so it looks like they're going to get Epinal back this turn. But they're not going to hold it. Alright, anything else? Don't know where that dreadnought's heading. I'd like to go hunt it down, but probably more important to go ahead and maintain the blockade. Right, that Ottoman cavalry unit that I have near Alexandria, they're exposed. They could be getting low on supply. Hopefully I'll be able to relieve them or at the very least pull them back. And things over here in Srinaika have gotten a lot more dicey for the Entente since we were able to land these 3 corps worth of Ottoman infantry, who I would also like to point out have level 2 weapons. So that's a pretty big deal. Alright, looks like that's it for the Entente side. British national morale falling below 25%. That is the overall grand strategy at the moment, is to focus on attacking UK morale, because if we can have them withdraw from the war, that is 2 of the 3 major powers out of the game, and that will give the Central Powers their strategic victory. So here's our military activity summary and intelligence reports. So infantry corps near Reims, artillery, armored cruiser at Alexandria. All right, so reinforcements, 4th German Artillery. So I am going to add that to the Western Front. The question is where? Actually, we're going to put it in the north. So ultimately, I'll get him up here, and that way I can use him, these 2 artillery units, one here, and then this one will be here, and that'll help with liberating Belgium. And then the other 2 artillery units will continue the push down the French-Swedish border and unhinging their defensive positions here. All right, so Baskedin Corps. Let's go ahead and have them down near the Swiss border. 1st Reserve Corps. So we'll stick them in the middle, that way they can go in either direction. Alright, looks like that is going to be it for the reinforcements this turn. So I want to start out here with the Navy. So these, alright, so he's down to 6 supply. Let's start heading him back. Let's see if he can encounter that dreadnought. No, but he does come across a destroyer. And we do some good damage. So I'll leave him out there one more turn. He's at 6 also, and he's also damaged. So let's start heading him. There's my dreadnought. Who is that? The Royal Oak, who is now heavily damaged. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody to get out there and take advantage of that. So the question becomes, do I want to continue with this operation, use these submarines to try and get out here and intercept Royal Oak before she gets back to port? Or do we continue with this operation to see if we can't draw out Royal Navy forces? All right. Well, we're already committed to this operation. Let's go ahead and finish that. Let's check and see if we got anybody in port at Newcastle. No, we don't. All right. So move him up to Scapa Flow. We'll have this one check Dundee and Rosyth. And yes, we have an armored cruiser, French armored cruiser. So let's get out of there. And I was about to say, I got to remember to watch out for the mines. I was about to say that. Well, since we've cleared the mines, let's go ahead. I'll move him in there because the computer is consistent when it comes to minefields. It's going to try and replace those mines. So I'll leave the submarine there, and hopefully he can ambush whoever comes out to replace the mines. So we'll move the fleet up, get them into position. Along the way, I'll have the seaplane tender attack that armored cruiser. I keep wanting to call them light cruisers, but light cruisers did not exist per se in World War I. That designation didn't come into effect until later. All right, so is he close enough? No, he's not. There we go. Those are not great odds, but as much as I'd like to do damage, I'm more interested in seeing if I can draw out a response. Alright, didn't take as much damage as anticipated, which is good. Get him back behind the line there. And then go ahead and bring up the rest of the fleet. Now, I've mentioned the purpose of this formation in the past. If you don't mind, for those of you who may not have heard it, I'm going to go over it again for you. Normally, this front line is nothing but destroyers. Destroyers are easily replaceable. Now, they're not cheap, but they're not expensive either. So the destroyers are out front, followed by the dreadnoughts. Light cruisers cap off the end of the dreadnoughts in order to protect them to be their outer ring, and then behind are the armored cruisers on the outer line, the battle cruisers in between, and then normally my seaplane tender would be sitting right here because it is the softest target out of the entire fleet, and then the pre-dreadnoughts, because they are the slowest out of this group, matched only by the armored cruisers in lack of movement points. I have them bring up the rear. That way, if we do have to do a quick retreat, the pre-dreadnoughts are furthest away from whatever threat we're pulling away from. So from the other side, an attacker, they would run into the destroyers and more than likely think, okay, let's attack the destroyers because it's just a destroyer, and they're coming at it with what, light cruiser, armored cruiser, whatever, maybe even dreadnought. So they go ahead and they focus on that destroyer. They go ahead and they beat it up. Hopefully the destroyer retreats before it gets sunk. If not, it gets sunk, but they can be replaced. And then they try to follow up, moving further. Hey, let's see what else is out here. And then they run into the dreadnought after they wound up expending all of that effort trying to sink the destroyer, or actually sinking the destroyer. And so now they're exposed to the counterattack of the heavy hitters. So that's the whole idea behind this formation. And I mean, obviously, you can increase or decrease. Like one of the things that I like to do is I like to add a second seaplane carrier. This particular run through, I just have not got around to ordering that, and I think it's pretty much too late in the game to go ahead and do that. But that is usually one of the things that I will do. And I also haven't replaced the two destroyers that I've lost. So, just the way the game's been unfolding. All right, so finishing up with the Navy, let's go ahead and upgrade what subs we have import. Let's go ahead and take that opportunity. Get on there. Come on. There we go. All right. So let me hold up on the Western Front just a little bit longer. Advance the cavalry. All right, let me do my count here again. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I can't pull anybody else out just yet. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the Western Front. So has he reloaded? He's back up to halfway. Um, do we want to use him to help retake Epinal? Would probably be a good idea, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Um, as much as I'd like to use the Zeppelins to draw out the enemy interceptors, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. This guy's been beat up pretty good the last couple of turns, so I'm going to reinforce him. But this guy's still in decent shape, and he has the range to get there, so let's go ahead and do it. Okay, there's that fighter squadron, that French fighter squadron. They've been there almost the whole game, so it's kind of like a continuing saga. So I wish I knew what unit that was. All right, so now that we've drawn out the interceptors, let's go ahead and scout the position. Oh, hey, there's an Italian infantry corps all the way up here. That's novel. I've never seen that before. That's a new one. Three and four. All right, so they were able to do considerable damage to him. And that takes him out. Move up my strongest guy that I got right there in the area. That'll allow me to go ahead and get him his elite reinforcements. And we'll just keep moving guys up. More elite reinforcements. How's he holding up? Not the greatest. Morale's down to 41. All of the artillery that he was taken from last turn, so we can swap them out. Also allows me to give him his elite reinforcements. Alright, second artillery is fully loaded. So we go ahead and clear a hex there north of Toul. Yep, let's go ahead and do it. Oh yeah, an artillery piece behind there. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and that's a colonial corps. France doesn't have too many of those in the game. I mean, it's just another infantry corps, but the ability to replace it is not as simple because there's only so many of them. All right, 1 to 7, yeah, definitely. Oh, wasn't able to one-shot him like I had hoped. All right. So we will take the opportunity to attack the artillery, because doing damage to the artillery is definitely a good thing, but unfortunately that means he cannot entrench this turn. Let me see. Don't know if I want to move him out of there because it may cost. Okay, so it'll take him 3 to get in there. There's zone of control issues, so it'd probably take him 4 to get into that hex. So it doesn't look like there's anything I can do to get somebody down here who's going to have a movement point left in order to be able to entrench. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave him to his fate for now. See, this is where that extra mobility point would have paid off dividends for me if I had had mobility technology. All right, so continue to move folks up. All right, so up here at Liege, they're down to 34. Let's just pull them way out. Give them lots of time to recoup. And 3rd Artillery is also up to full strength. So I'd like to wait and do an attack where I can attempt to take both of these hexes at the same time. But while I'm waiting to get this unit up, one thing that I can do is just cause casualties. So even though we have not scouted the place out, let's see if we can't eliminate that unit. That'll cause morale loss to the overall UK national morale. And it might just cause an up-and-coming Entente offensive to get derailed. Oh, 0 to 7? Can he one-shot him? Yes, he does. Awesome. And let's go ahead and do that. Go even further back. All right. Okay, so let's see if we can't get some reinforcing done for our fighters. Okay, so we only used the one that was at full 10 strength anyway. That's good. And I used both of the spotters. I could use a 3rd spotter up there, bomber spotter. All right, so let's move on to the Alps. And so I want to push on Venice. And I don't know why the computer is giving me this hex, and there's nobody down here on the other side of the river. So, well, if they're going to give it to me, I'm going to take it. I mean, all it does is cut off the guys that are trying to defend Venice. All right, reinforce him. Now, is there anything left to attack, seeing as how I moved everybody? He needs to flip the entrenchments around. There we go. I'm not worried about this infantry corps attacking into the back of these 2 units. That actually that's probably what they're going to do, but it doesn't help them unless they get supported by attacks from this side. And either way, it just plays into my hands because it weakens this unit. Okay, I mean, I wasn't expecting to have this hex to begin with, and so if I lose it, it doesn't change my plans. I'm going to take this hex north of Venice, and eventually I'm going to have these 2 hexes, the one south of Padua and this one here north of Venice, and that will be the 2 hexes we use to go ahead and take Venice. So let's go ahead and take the opportunity to reinforce the Austrian fighter squadrons and this bomber squadron, scout squadron. All right, so the Adriatic. Here we go. All right. So we are going to do the split invasion. I'm going to hit the south first, and then I'm going to hit at Ancona, and we'll push from both directions. Are going to push towards Rome. So let's get our amphibious forces into the water. Maneuver the ships and the submarines in such a way that hopefully they're not spotted by coast watchers. All right, do I have any other ships? Yeah, I know. I go ahead and I say, hey, watch out for coast watchers, and what do I do with these two ships? All right. Okay, so the amphibious invasion is on the way. Now let's see if we can do some damage here, make some advances here in the Peloponnese. Oh, we know that interceptor's still down there. Usually the computers moved them out of there by now, but I guess they think they're going to be able to hold off. There's a certain amount of evidence to support that theory. All right, so that takes Larissa. Can I get him? Yes, I can. I can force march him. Because now I can go ahead and I can isolate Athens. And so even though I force marched him and it winds up losing a lot of his available firepower, I'll have time for him to make it back up by the time I'm in position to actually besiege Athens and assault it. All right, so more Ottoman forces on the way to um, what's that place called? Africa. That's it. Africa. That's its name. Can I? Oh, yes, he's close enough. Awesome. Oh, that reminds me. Um, so a comment that was made about boarding transports and amphibious transports, and something that I forgot to mention when I was talking about that in a previous turn. The Marine Corps units, they don't need a port to get on amphibious transports. They can Marine Corps units, they can go ahead and they can hop on amphibs anywhere. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. What was I trying to do with him? Oh, I was trying to upgrade him. That was the thought going through my head. I was trying to upgrade him, but he's already up at level 2. All right, so the headquarters positioned here should cover, yep, and get him reinforced. So, just so you know, Um, Romania is up to 62% for the Entente. There is a possibility that they will still join the war on the Entente side, even though Russia has been defeated. So I'm going to need to keep at least some forces along the Romanian border just in case. So I decided I was going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Bulgarian forces as the bulk of my defenses along Romania. All right, let's go ahead and move everybody up. Get this big old traffic jam moving at least a little bit. All right. So I use the bomber, so I can't reinforce him. Looks like I've moved pretty much everybody that I can. I got to keep somebody here in Pristina. Got to keep somebody in Belgrade. Go ahead and get these guys heading towards the Romanian border. All right. So that is going to take care of Europe proper. Let's go ahead and move on down to Africa. Continue to chase that French garrison. All right, so we'll go ahead and have those guys dig in until we get more reinforcements. I'll have the rebels do a little bit of scouting for me. So I can get them out of there. I can get him out of there. Awesome. So he can actually move there. Oh, excuse me. All right. Do I have one more transport left? No, I do not. All right, so on the other side of Egypt, what can we do? All right, so he's down to 3 supply. I'd really like to pull him out of there, but the computer has done something that I consider to be rather, what's the opposite of smart? Leaving these hexes open and allowing me access to Cairo was not a good idea. All right, so that gives us Port Said. What's he got for rounds? 4. I can take him next turn, assuming he stays there. All right, so I did not need to use the Ottoman Air Force this turn, so we'll go ahead and take the opportunity to upgrade the bombers and reinforce the fighters. Get a headquarters moved up. Save the artillery attack for next turn. We'll use it on this hex here, unless he goes ahead and pulls out, which would not be the greatest idea. In my opinion, if the computer has the forces, they need to reinforce these 3 hexes right here. But we'll see what happens. So, but now I have 2 units here. I've got Port Said, so that means we'll be able to get supplies into this guy. With that said, we'll go ahead and dig him in now that he can stay there. All right, so I think that is going to cover everything for this turn. Let me zoom out and have a quick look, make sure I didn't forget anything. Do I want to do anything with the... Yes, I can get him his elite reinforcements. Anything else? Got the submarines. Back over here to the Western Front. Make sure I didn't forget anything here again like I did that one turn. I totally forgot to retake Liege. Oh, that was foolish. All right, so UK morale is down to 22. Now that I've taken Port Said, that'll drop even further once that actually registers. All right, so we got let's go back to research. The Germans. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could just go ahead and blow out on research. I mean, they got 471 production points. Uh, Max out production technology. Max out logistics. Spying and intelligence is already maxed. Trench warfare is on its way to max. I don't need amphibious warfare for the Germans. Not this playthrough. My strategy really doesn't have them doing amphibious warfare, except that one unit that is helping with the invasion of Italy. So, a little late on naval warfare. Aerial warfare is going to max out. Oh, so there was a comment concerning tanks in the game. And usually, if you go ahead and you spend the resources for armored fighting vehicles, which are better known as tanks, what you got to do is you got to hit tank development and armored warfare early on in the game. And the way it works is for every 2 levels you get in armored warfare and every 2 levels that you get in tank development, you get one tank unit that you can purchase and deploy onto the map. So by looking at Germany's research and development here, they can do a maximum of level 4 in armored warfare and a maximum of level 2 in tank development. So they would have a grand total of 2 tank units that would be available. Okay, and it's not every 2 levels in tank development, 1 level. You got to have 1 level in tank development, 2 levels in armored warfare in order to be able to get 1 tank unit. So the maximum they can have is 2 units. Okay, that doesn't do anything. 2 units. I mean, I might get lucky and take 1 hex. And I admit, at the end of the game, it might make all the difference between a stalemate and a minor victory. Okay? But I got bigger fish to fry with what limited production points I've got. So for me personally, I really don't put into armored warfare. Okay? That's just my feeling on it. And I'm sure there's other players that they love it. But another problem that I have with the tanks is that artillery, they tear the tanks up. Okay, the if the armored unit makes the mistake of staying out there where an artillery unit with level 2 artillery technology can get at it, it's done. So it's expensive. Bauble is the way I see the tanks. So, all right. So there's that. Um, you either agree or disagree, or you're somewhere in between. So I've got 45 left for Austria. So they're working on long-range aircraft. They're working on fighter development. Let's get. Oh, maximum research met. Yeah, I only got, what is that? 15 left. Okay. So there's nothing I can do for R&D for them. Turkey, the Ottoman Empire. So they got ground attack weapons. Let's go ahead and hit that one again. Working on longer range aircraft, working on fighter development. I really ought to work on heavy bombers now. I believe heavy bombers does something for maritime bombers. I don't remember. But let's go ahead. Advanced submarines, that's always good. Even this late in the game, you never know, they could get a breakthrough. I've only got 77 left. They're at level 2 production technology. They're at level 3 logistics, working on 4. Trench warfare is working its way to level 5. So aerial warfare working on level 2. So let's just go ahead and dump it into production. And that is going to do it for research and development. Germany still has plenty left, so we can go to buy stuff. And let's get our 19th Saxon Corps reconstituted. And I said I needed recon bombers. Let's get another recon bomber. And that is going to do it. They only got 61 left. All right. Okay, so there we go. That is going to do it for this turn. Thank you very much. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Less than 50% of you who are watching these videos are subscribed. Please just trying to grow the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and because I'm not monetized, it's not like I'm getting any money out of this. I'm just doing this for fun. But if we continue to grow the channel, who knows where this might go. So think about it. And then also, please don't be afraid to leave your comments. I do read them. I like to try and get back to you. The questions. Can we do this? Can we do that? Things like that. And the vote post is still out there for what game we want to do next. It's been out there for about a month now, and there's only been 4 votes, all of them for American Civil War, Strategic Command American Civil War. As I had mentioned previously, I don't have a lot of time in that particular game, so I have been trying to do a crash course. At the time, I had less than 100 hours, and now I'm like at about 150. I've been going back and forth playing between playing the Union or playing the Confederacy, just to see which side makes more sense to me. It's easier for me to figure out so that I can go ahead and play a half decent game. And so it looks like that's the one we're going to get into, unless somehow amazingly the vote swings in another direction. So, all right. So I'm just going to leave the vote up there for a little bit longer because, like I said, there's only been 4 votes, and there's 38 of you that are subscribed, and like another 40 some that watch the channel. So I figured let me leave it up there and give everybody an opportunity in case they didn't know it was there. All right. Well, that is enough for this turn. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.